it going out there, YouTubers? In YouTube land, Cyberneck Shark here with another new movie review for you. So let's go right into this review and see what I saw. So how's it going out there, YouTubers? Welcome to another awesome movie review. Oh yeah! So the movie I will be talking about today is a movie I actually ended up seeing about, a couple weeks ago, probably 3 weeks now, because it came out in the middle of April. And this movie is actually a reboot of an already great film series. Now, this film series happens to be based off of an awesome comic book character that I feel was so well created by Mike Mignola, and I thought he just did a really amazing job with creating such an amazing character. Now, this character happens to be none other than the awesome reboot remake film called Hellboy. I wish I had fire that would come up when I did that. Woo, fire, Hellboy, Woo! Maybe some special effects, maybe? I don't know. Not that good yet. Anyways. So, Hellboy. So, this film, unfortunately, has gotten really bad reviews from the critics. I think it's currently at like 49% on Rotten Tomatoes. And a lot of people, I feel, are going in and unfortunately are relating it way too much to the Guillermo del Toro films. Now, I know everyone loved Ron Perlman as Hellboy, and I did too. But one thing I, did when I decided to go see the movie is keep an open mind that I know that this isn't Ron Perlman, and I know that this is going to be a completely different type of Hellboy movie, different than what Guillermo del Toro did. And I feel that really helped me when I went in and saw this film, because I actually ended up really enjoying the film. I thought it was really fantastic. Even my girlfriend said after we saw it, she's like, that was really good. Like, we were really surprised because we thought everyone that was involved, everyone that was in it, was really good, did a really good job, and made a really decent Hellboy type of film. So this film, like I said, is a reboot remake and was very beautifully directed. None other than by an awesome director I feel has done a lot of great directing, is a really good director, and just all around has a great vision of what he likes to direct. And that, of course, is Mr. Neil Marshall. Now, Neil Marshall, you might recognize as, a director of a few other films, executive producer of a sequel to a first film that he directed, and so forth. But a couple of films I really enjoyed that he directed that I thought were really well done was an awesome film that came out in the early 2000s that was about werewolves. And that is the film called Dog Soldiers. Oh yeah. If you haven't seen Dog Soldiers, definitely check it out, people. It is such an amazing film. One of the best werewolf films I've ever seen. Dog Soldiers is just a really fun film, too. I don't know why I'm having such a hard time saying soldier. Come on, people. Come on, tongue. Soldier. Soldier. Anywho. But this movie is just really fantastic. It had a really great concept and a different approach to werewolves. And I felt that Neil just directed it so amazingly and gave us this really great... even though the CGI work at the time wasn't the greatest for its time, or it wasn't the greatest, even, 10 years later, 15 years later, it's still pretty decent for its time. But just was a really awesome and really great action film with lots of great, action sequences, lots of great gore, and just a really fun outing for, werewolves and getting its own film. And I just thought it was really well directed by Neil, and I thought he did a really fantastic job. Definitely, if you haven't seen it, definitely check it out, people. Dog Soldier is really fun, really awesome, and a great horror flick to check out. Now, the other film I really enjoyed that he directed, or was it a pretty decent film? I, thought the second film was better even though he didn't direct it. I still think the first film was pretty good, though. And had an interesting cast because the whole ensemble cast actually was all female. So that was quite interesting, too, I felt. Because at the time, even the early 2000s, I feel that a lot of movies didn't have that kind of usually casting, so it was interesting to see an all-female cast kind of as the main protagonist and so forth in the film. And that film happens to be the 2005 film called The Descent. Oh yeah. So if you haven't seen The Descent, basically it's about these women that decide to go backpacking through a cavern, and when they get in there, they end up coming across some like humanoid creatures of sorts that they have to survive and battle their way to get out of the cave after, unfortunately, the cave, basically gets destroyed and causes a avalanche basically to close off the end that they came through basically. It's a really fun film, really interesting concept, and definitely a nice like little horror flick. If you haven't seen, you're looking for like an independent film, this one's fun to do that. And I think it's probably a very well crafted film that I feel Neil did a really amazing job with, and made a really interesting and gave us this kind of very indie fun kind of horror film with a totally very diverse cast too as well, that I think did very well for its time. So this movie has a really awesome cast. I loved everyone that was involved in it. They were all awesome in the film, and they all did a great job and gave us this really awesome caricatures of these characters that were already kind of well known, but gave us a totally new look and aspect to what these characters could be, and I thought they did a really good job. Now, to start off this awesome cast, we have none other than the guy that plays Hellboy himself in the new series, and that, of course, is Mr. David Harbour. Now, you might recognize David Harbour from, of course, Stranger Things. That's on Netflix. That's pretty much one of his biggest things to date. But he has been in a lot of films over the years. Lots of small parts, cameos, stuff like that. And he's a great bit player and just a really interesting actor that, I wasn't too sure how he was going to be at first. But after seeing the film, I actually thought he did a really decent job. Now, a couple of films I really enjoyed him in and thought he was really fun in is none other than a great film that came out a few years ago, starring the great Johnny Depp, and it's about the one of the most notorious mob bosses that evaded capture for many, many years, Whitey Bulger, and that, of course, is the film called Black Mass. Oh yeah. Black Mass, people. The story about Whitey Bulger. Now, David Harbour plays a character in the film. I believe he's supposed to be one of the agents or one of the cops or something that's after Whitey Bulger. And it's not a huge part, but the part I remember that he played was pretty decent and pretty fun. I thought he did a decent job. I thought that even though the role wasn't huge, he still brought a very powerhouse performance to the character and gave us this really interesting character. And also I felt that he worked really well with all the characters and the people that he was interacting with in the film. Really well done performance, really interesting, and a decent job by David Harbour. So the second film that David Harbour was in that I really enjoyed is a great DC Comics movie that came out in 2016 that's taken forever to get a sequel to. And I felt that this first film was really well done, really fun, and really well directed. And unfortunately, the original director isn't coming back for the sequel, but we are getting James Gunn to direct the sequel, so that should be interesting to see. But of course, the film I'm talking about that David Harbour was in, of course, is the awesome Jared Leto driven film that he was like the lead character pretty much. Of course, is the great film Suicide Squad. Oh yeah, based on the DC comic characters. So you got Deadshot, Harley Quinn, Captain Boomerang, so many different characters that are just awesome. The Joker, etc., etc. So this awesome film, and David Harbour plays a small part in the film. Once again, another little small part, but still was very awesome. And he was so hilarious in his little part. I absolutely loved it. He was a part of, I believe, if I remember correctly, he was part of the big entourage of the military people that was working for Viola Davis's character. And basically he had kind of like a small talking part that he had kind of some funny lines, and they were so super funny. And just really well done by David. And I thought that it showed that he has some kind of comedy chops that he did very well. And I felt that his performance was a really great addition to that film and just did, a fun and exciting job. And when it comes to his comedy, I felt that he really brought it through into Hellboy itself. Now, it comes to his performance in Hellboy. Like I said, I was really shocked at how much I actually enjoyed him playing the character. I felt that he brought a great sense to the character. I thought he was funny. I thought he was, heroic. I thought he did a great job of looking, awesome, looking as Hellboy too. I thought he got in really good shape for the role, and I just thought that he was actually really good at the character. I mean, he gave Ron Perlman a little bit of a run. I felt that he was just as good as Ron Perlman. Of course, nobody's as good as Ron Perlman, but still, I felt that his portrayal of Hellboy was just as good, or not even maybe a little bit better than Ron Perlman's version. So the fact that we got a little bit more darker version of Hellboy this time around because it was an R-rated film. So I was really I liked that aspect, and how he was a little bit more not as comic booky, but more a little bit serious and darker. And I thought that David did a really good job with that. Really great performance by him, and I really enjoyed his portrayal of Hellboy very much. Next up on the awesome roster in this film is none other than a beauty and beautiful actress herself that has just done so many great movies over the years. She is so amazing, she is so gorgeous, and just a really awesome actress and action star. And that, of course, is Miss Milla Jovovich. Oh yeah, I absolutely love her. She is so amazing. I fell in love with her as soon as I saw her in The Fifth Element. She was so awesome in that. She's been in so many other great films. Perfect Getaway, she was really fun in. She's been in a film with Robert De Niro called Stone. She was really good in that. She's been in so many great films. But a couple films I really enjoyed her in, or I should say a film series I really enjoyed her in, and another film I really enjoyed her in, I'll be talking about right now. So the film series that I'm talking about, of course, is the awesome portrayal of an awesome character that we were introduced into a great video game series back in the mid to late 90s. And this film series ended up, spawning, I believe it was 6 altogether, 6 or 7 films. And she played the titular role through all of the films, and she just was so awesome and badass in these films. And that, of course, is the awesome Resident Evil series. Oh, yeah. Absolutely love these films. They were so awesome. Each one got better and better that she did. This very last one, the final chapter, it was so intense and awesome. It just was so well done, so well made, and just Mia was so amazing in it. Milla was just so awesome and did so well, and just, she portrayed this such badass character, and she did such an amazing job with it. And I love where she took the character, because she really did develop from that very first film all the way up to this very last one, and, gave us this cool character and kind of gave us an intro and an ending to this character too as well. And I thought she did a really good job with it. If you haven't seen any of the Resident Evils, definitely check them out, people. They're such great films, really fun, and just a really well done series. And if you love Milla, definitely check them out too, because she's worth the watching those. The second movie I really enjoyed Milla in was an awesome film that came out in the mid to late 2000s. That was a really fun sci-fi action flick that just was really fun and really well done. And that, of course, is the awesome film Ultraviolet. Oh yeah. So another one where she kicks butt, very similar to Fifth Element, very similar to the Resident Evils, very similar to pretty much most of the characters she plays are usually kick-ass female characters. And she did a really fantastic job in this film. I really liked the evolution of this character. I really loved all the action sequences. And I just thought she did a really amazing job in this film. Now, I feel that the unrated cut of the film versus the PG-13 is a lot better. So if you haven't seen this film, definitely check out the unrated over the PG-13. Because the action sequences are even better in the unrated version. And she just shows off more of her awesome sword skills in that version. And she just did a really awesome job with that. I really enjoyed her character in it too, and just her look, her persona, her presence in the film just was really well done. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out, worth a watch, and definitely a great film to kind of introduce yourself to her too as well, if you're not very familiar with her. Now, it comes to her character as the main villain in Hellboy. She was so awesome. Even though her screen time wasn't huge in the film, it still was a great performance by her. I absolutely love when they're trying to reassemble her character in the film and how her head is like visible and everything, and she's talking and she's given these like very poetic like lines and stuff like that. She did a really fantastic job of giving us kind of that old ancient like sorceress talk, and she did such a great job, and she was a great villain because she was kicking butt as a villain. She didn't do a lot of fighting in the film, but still her performance was really well done and just a really great villain. I really enjoyed her as the character and really enjoyed her in the film. I thought out of her all of her performances that I've seen over the years, this one is probably one of her best to date. Versus the last, Resident Evil that she did. She did a really fun job, and it was fun to see her in this film, and definitely fun to see her as a villain character too, as well. So that brings me to the next awesome guy on our roster. This actor has been around for many years. He was huge on Deadwood, which is getting a movie made of it. That's supposed to be coming out, I believe, this year or next year. And he's just a fun all-around guy. He's been in a ton of films. He's recently been in the 3 John Wick films as a main character that interacts with John Wick, and he's just a fun all-around great actor. Now, the actor I'm talking about is none other than the great, amazing Ian McShane. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So Ian McShane you might recognize, like I said, from Deadwood and a few other things, John Wick and so forth. But a couple of films I really enjoyed him and thought he was fantastic in was none other than a great film that came out a few years ago that was kind of not a huge success, but still a fun film. A great comedy film that has Andy Samberg in it, Bill Hader, and Isla Fisher in it. And that, of course, is the awesome film Hot Rod. Oh, yeah. Hot Rod. Oh, yeah. I absolutely love this film. It's so stinking funny, so hilarious. And I absolutely love Ian McShane's character. And I love him being Andy Samberg's stepfather in the film and how their relationship is. And I thought that Ian just did a really great job of portraying that character, giving us this really fun character. And just bringing to life this character. And just their interactions were so funny. And he just really brought a great presence to that character. Absolutely love that film. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out, people. Worth a watch. Ian McShane was awesome in it. Really perfection there. And just a really great comedic performance by him. The second movie that Ian McShane was in that I really enjoyed him in was an awesome film that came out in 2007 starring the great Jason Statham. And it's just a really awesome series that they actually ended up making 3 prequels to about the same character that basically Jason Statham kind of takes over in this film. And that, of course, is the awesome action sci-fi film Death Race. Oh yeah, Death Race. So this awesome movie, Ian McShane plays a main character in the film that is kind of helping out Jason Statham's character in the film. It just is a really awesome character that I absolutely love and fall in love with, actually, in this film. Because he kind of becomes like a father figure and is like there to kind of help and coach Jason Statham's character throughout the film. And it just is a really great performance by Ian, and you kind of just like his character. You want to see more of his character, and you really enjoy when you see his screen time. He just did a really great performance in it. Lots of great drama, lots of great comedy, too, at the same time, along with a great fatherly quality. Really enjoyed that performance by Ian McShane, and he was really awesome in it. Now, when it comes to his performance in Hellboy, I really enjoyed him as Hellboy's father character in the film. He was so awesome, so amazing, and did a lot of great justice to the previous father character that was in the other Hellboy films. Now, nobody can compare to John Hurt, but Ian McShane can, live up to the expectation of John Hurt, and he did that with this character. And I thought he might have been even a better choice for that character. Did a really great job as the character, and I just really thought he was fantastic in it. Definitely worth the watch to go see this movie in theaters right now. Definitely check it out for Ian McShane because he's just really awesome in it. Really well done, great performance, and looking forward to see more from Ian McShane, in the coming years. Can't wait to see him in Chapter 3 of John Wick as well. That's going to be awesome. Yeah. So to finish off this awesome cast, we have none other than an awesome actor that has done a lot of great action, films over the years, has been in a lot of great movies. He's just a really great bit actor too as well, and I really enjoy him every time I see him in a film. And that, of course, is Mr. Daniel Dae Kim. Oh yeah. So Daniel Dae Kim you might recognize from a few recent shows. I believe he has been on Hawaii Five-0 recently, the new Hawaii Five-0 that they've been doing for the last couple years. He's also been in a few other TV series over the years. I believe he was actually on Walking Dead too as well. But a couple of films I really enjoyed him and thought he was fantastic in. Even though they weren't huge roles, they still were really fun roles. And that, of course, there's an awesome film that came out in 2005. I actually saw this in theaters back in 2005. And this is just a great kind of like monster horror type of thriller type of film that he stars in. And that, of course, is the awesome film The Cave. Oh yeah, The Cave. Love this film. It's such a great film. Now, The Cave, if you haven't seen it, is basically kind of, like I said, a horror monster type of film where these people get trapped in this cave where there's these, like, creatures that they have to fight off and interact with. And basically, if you get touched by one, basically it affects you and turns you into one of them. And Daniel Dae Kim's character is one of the sidekicks that's involved with the expedition that's going into this cave. It was a really great performance, and I really enjoyed him in the film. Thought he did a really great job. He was awesome. He was interesting. I thought he worked really well with Cole Hauser and Piper Perabo in the film, and I just thought he was really fun and interesting. Really well done in the film, and I thought he just did a really great job. Really enjoyed him, and definitely when I saw him in that, I wasn't sure if I'd ever see him in anything again, and thankfully I have seen him in other things, and he's been great, and really showed in that film how good of an actor he can be. Now, the second film that he was in that I really enjoyed is a really great movie, a great sequel, and it's not a huge part he had. It's a kind of a small part, but he works for basically Alfred Molina's Doc Ock in the film, and he plays like a scientist type of character. And that, of course, is the awesome film Spider-Man 2. Oh, yeah. Spider-Man 2 was such an awesome film. It was a great, Sam Raimi film, and a great, Marvel film for its time, even before Marvel Studios was a big thing. And I thought that Daniel Dae Kim was really awesome in the film. I really enjoyed him as the character. It wasn't like super huge lines, but still, he brought a great presence to that character, and you felt for him when what happened to him in the film. And he just did a really fun job, and I thought it was a really great performance, even though it was such a small part. I really enjoyed the film, and I really enjoyed him in it. And if I have to, pinpoint a person that's in the film that I thought was really decent, it was definitely him. And it really showed, even in that small part, really showed his good acting chops, just like in The Cave. He just really has a great presence to him, and he's just fun to watch. Now, it comes to his character in Hellboy. I really liked him. I thought he was so awesome because he's like such a dick in the movie, but at the same time, you end up kind of falling in love with this character and really enjoying his character. And he just was a great kind of sidekick ally in the film that, ends up helping out Hellboy throughout the film. Really fun performance, really well done, and a great job by Daniel Dae Kim. So if you're not familiar with what Hellboy's about, basically it's kind of a retelling of the origin story of who Hellboy is. And basically kind of like him trying to defeat this main villainess who's played by Milla Jovovich, basically. And so it kind of gives you in history of where Hellboy kind of came from, his relationship with his father, his adoptive father, and basically where he comes from, and kind of gives you an idea of who he's supposed to come. And it kind of gave us a new type of storyline too, letting us, find out that he kind of was like, the reason he was brought out was to basically be able to allow this villainess, basically, to take over the world, basically. And so they kind of took this new origin story / retelling of the origin story of Hellboy and gave us this new great film, which I thought was really well done and really amazing. I thought the CGI work in it was pretty fantastic, pretty well done, and I definitely thought it was a really great film. And I'm hoping that they do a sequel because I thought this was really good, and I thought David Harbour did a really great job as well. Everyone was really awesome in it. I really enjoyed the female sidekick gal that was in the film, and I thought she was really funny, and I just thought everyone involved was really good and awesome in the film. If you haven't seen it yet, definitely go check it out, people. It's worth the watch. Stay through the end credits because they do have a couple post-credit scenes in this film, and it's just a really fun and awesome film. And I just thought it was really well done. And like I said, if you go in with an open mind and not thinking about the Ron Perlman films, you should enjoy it and probably will enjoy it. And you'd be like, wow, that actually was really fun and good. Definitely check it out, people. Worth the watch. Really fun and enjoyable. So that's it for this movie review, guys. As always, thank you for watching. Thank you for liking. And also, thank you for subscribing. And if it's your first time here, or if you've been here before and you haven't hit that subscribe button, what are you waiting for? A grand invitation? Come on, people. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss this review or any of the other awesome reviews I put up. And as always, keep your eyes out for any old or newer videos you might not have seen mine yet. And as always, people, check out the awesome Stardust app where you can watch 3 to 30-second little mini reviews, trailers, TV shows, movies, anything your heart desires, which this awesome app is constantly updating with awesome new polls and contests where you can win cool prizes as well. So if that's something interesting, you can download it for free through your respective Play Store. Look for me under the Cybernetic 13. If you follow me, I'll follow you back. And as always, people, catch you in the next one.